Hey guys, Paul McLean here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. So excited that you're with us today. Excited to be here with you. And like I say, every single week, the goal in the next 20, 30 minutes, however long this thing goes, is to provide significant value to you so that you can go out there and make this week better than last week. And as you get to the end of the year, you look back like, man, look at the progress. Look at the progression I've had. We're now way further than we could imagine. And so today, guys, I believe that the guest that I have on is going to be able to do that for you. This is somebody that's been here for just a minute, but really in his first kind of full year, went out there and helped over 500 families in personal production. Now, this is somebody also that I love what he said after he got that red jacket. He was wearing it. He looked good in red. By the way, everybody looks better in red. But he said, dude, why not help 1,000 families? He went to the conference, saw how many people walked across stage, and he's like, dude, I'm going to do it. And I'm telling you, I believe in him like I believe in you, and I believe without a doubt that he can and he will this year. So if you guys could welcome on Rami Hamady. Rami, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Paul. Good to have
me. Well, it's good to have you on, man. I'm excited that you're on, and I know that we've got a good relationship that we've developed, man, over quite a few years, and it's really been a pleasure, man, being a business partner with you, to be in business with you, and you provided significant value to the team and the organization. I know today that you're going to bring some great value to the Monday Morning Wake Up podcast audience, and so I really want to kind of first kick off with, I think most people in this time of the year, they make decisions to become more obsessed about certain areas of their life, right? They kind of, as they wrap up the year, they start reflecting and say, man, I wish I would have kind of went more all in this category, that category. Specific to business and to work, I think that a lot of people going into the year, they're like, they start looking at what they want to accomplish, where they want to go. And I think everybody right now is in that spot still of wanting this year to be a productive, big year. For you, now that you've got this goal, this big goal of how many families you want to help, what do you think kind of helps you keep your mind just heightened or just hyper focused, so to speak, where you're just all in it? What do you do that kind of helps you stay there, Rami?
Of course. So one thing, Paul, I want to thank you for having me on this call today. You provide a lot of value to my life and outside many other agents as well. So thank you again for having me on this call. Mainly, Paul, in regards to helping 1,000 families, and I'm going to kind of backtrack a bit into hitting Hall of Fame my first full year. My main point and the main reason, to my belief, as why I hit that the way I did is because I have a relentless work ethic. I'm not scared to get down and get to work. I understand that, in order to be successful, you're going to have to do some things, that sometimes you don't want to do per se, right? There's always, those, let's say, day-to-day activities that, like you said before, it's easier to say, I'll rather work than go to the gym. I kind of share that similar aspect. However, what I had to do was really kind of buckle down and understand that, hey, in order for me to truly hit Hall of Fame and this year help 1,000 families, I got to go all in. I have to really make sure that no matter what happens, I'm leaving everything on the table. Everything. Have to have zero gas in the tank. If you can do that, guys, any agent on this who's watching this video and really wants to hit their goal, aim for the stars, guys, so when you miss, you land on the moon. Literally, that's my main saying. Aim for the stars, you land on the moon. And put it all out on the table. And that's what I did. In my first full year, I put everything out there, and I said, hey, you know what? Let me see what I can do in this business. And I produced the fruit to my rewards, my labor.
I love that, dude. And I think that I think a lot of people will state that, everybody goes in and says, hey, this is where I want to go. And then some actually get there, right? And I believe that if you put the work and you do these intangible things, that'll happen. For you, Rami, what did you do that kind of helped support that level of commitment or help solidify that level of commitment? Was there any, did you write down what you had to sacrifice? Did you communicate with people that, hey, I'm going to be more focused on this and this is what we're doing. This is why I'm going to do. Did you do anything that what was supporting the commitment that really kind of helped solidify it?
Of course. So one was my support system, right? My family and friends, my mentors, my managers, yourself, Marisa, Christina, having a really good support system really solidified my belief. I knew that I could do it because everyone else believed in me. And when someone believes in you, it gives you that extra, it instills self-efficacy. So basically, it makes me understand that I can do what I'm doing to the best of my ability and further. Not to mention, I wrote daily affirmations. Right now, I wish I can turn the camera. I have a whiteboard here every day. I write down my goals of the week. Every single day, I write down what I want to accomplish as a human, in general, as a person. What do I want to do? not just in the business, but do I want to make an impact in Lebanon? Do I want to make an impact with X amount of families, making sure that this son can now pay for his mom's college tuition? This son can now basically retire the mom. This son can now do whatever they want to do. This daughter can do whatever she wants to do. So what I had to do is, like you said, I had to write them down every day. So one, every single morning I woke up, I wrote down what I was grateful for. You gave us a really nice book, I believe, for during convention, and I use that to this day. Funny thing is, I had that book as well, and I just really ran out of it, so now I got a second copy.
Nice.
So, yeah, so basically, thank you, Paul. I appreciate it, man. I needed it. So I write them all down because, guys, you have to. You have to remind yourself what you're fighting for. You have to remind yourself what you're grateful for as well. That's one thing I did. Second, I had to make sure that, all right, this is my schedule. This is the system. What do I need to do to get where I need to be? And production wise, in order to hit Hall of Fame, I knew I had a block on my schedule. I knew that no matter what, every single Monday and Thursday, I'm booking those 15 to 20 appointments in order to help the 30 to 50 families a month. Now, in regards to helping 1,000 families, I don't have to double down on that. Now, how did I solidify that outside of just saying it and outside of just writing it down? I actually implemented and I executed what I wrote down. So I wrote down double lead flow. Instead of just writing it down, looking at it and saying, I don't have to double my lead flow in order to help 1,000 families. I did. I went ahead, I doubled my lead flow. I didn't care there's no result yet. I understand that, hey, the result's going to be there. If I put the work in, the result will come. If you build it, they shall come, right? So that was my main focus, was like, all right, you know what? Do what you're saying you're going to do. I used to be a person in my life that I could tell anybody and everyone, Paul, what to do and how to do it. But when it comes to myself, practicing what I preach, I was lacking in that category, let's say. Now, joining Family First Life, it's the opposite. I truly now seeing it like you and everyone else around me, I understand now. You have to practice what you preach. You can't just talk about it. You have to walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's what I began to do. I know I went down a little rabbit hole, but I was writing affirmations. I was making sure that my support system was there. I made sure that I believed in myself. And on top of all of that, I had to make sure that it was realistic. I'm not going to say to burn myself out, but I want to make sure that, hey, this is, it's realistic goals. I don't want to put out on a piece of paper that I'm going to, help 100 families in a day. It's definitely possible, but I want to make it more realistic. So I'm reading it and looking down at it. It makes it more tangible. It's a little bit, how do I put it? It's less pressure on yourself. So now if I'm looking at it and I try to crunch everything in a 6 to 9 month window, it's going to make it a little bit stressful. Now I can definitely do it. I know I can. But when you kind of lay it out, it makes things a lot easier. Just like kind of baking a cake. When you have the recipe, you have all the ingredients, it's easy to kind of make that cake. You don't got to be a Michelin star chef to do that.
Man, this is so good, dude. Like, I think there's people leaning in right now, and what you're doing is you're giving their commitment some handles to grab onto, because it's very practical. And for anybody that was wondering, is Rami that smart? After you use that word, I think they realize you are that smart. And I know your background, because you said that, I'm like, did Rami smart? And I remember you were in med school, right? And you're book deep into those, books and going through that. But the thing is this, man, like, I love what you said about, like, the people you got around, they helped give you belief. Like, they spoke belief over you. And the thing is this, most people in their life, they don't ever have somebody step in and say, man, I believe in you, bro. Like, I believe in you. I think God's put something great in you. And then they find things that they can actually highlight, right, and focus on and spotlight to help them really kind of say, you know what, maybe they're right. And it's that borrowed belief, because I believe that everybody comes in here with a past. I think everybody starts each year with a past. I think everybody starts each day with a past, where the day before and the day before, your actions, right, the way you feel and the way you think, over a long period of time becomes a heightened state of being. And then all of a sudden you start to develop beliefs about yourself. And I just know that, Dave Anderson said something pretty good. He said, I don't want to be the guy that hits somebody in the face with a bat and then drags them around the bases. You know what I mean? Like, and he was talking about leadership and team. He's like, I don't want to recruit the guy or spend time with the guy I got to hit in the face and then drag him from base to base. And, I think a lot of times that's kind of how we are with our new person we want to become, with that new version that we need to be, who we need to be to hit these goals. It's like we don't set up these things that solidify the commitment, solidify the new person that you need to be. And so it's essence, like, every day it just feels like, man, I'm getting smacked in the head and I'm dragging myself across the bases. And eventually you drop that person because the weight you're carrying is just, it ain't worth it. And I do believe the best way to get somebody going, or that person going, is surround yourself with people, man, that can speak life over you, that can say, man, I believe in you, that you can start to borrow the belief in yourself from the belief that they've got in you. And that's why it's so essential, as you're working with a team, to be the person that can speak belief into people's lives, to give them that next version of themselves and the image of what that person looks like, and then highlight the things that they see in them that actually resemble that and get them to move towards that. And then the thing is, man, like you keep the stuff in front of you. Like when you're like, I got the affirmations, I write out my goals. Well, it's got to be in front of you, because if it's not in front of you, then you start looking back. And when you look back, you're going to go ahead and start to develop that old belief and thought process of your former self, because that's the past, how you felt, how you think about yourself. And now you're living in the past and you're just portraying your next version of yourself into the future. That's the duplicate of who you used to be. And I think that it's so essential, man. It's so essential to keep it in front of you. I remember listening to these Navy SEALs, and he said, I don't remember if it was a podcast or a book, but he said when it gets so difficult, where they're like, it seems like there's no way out of it. Like the storm is too great, the adversity is too big, the hope is so small. He says he just looks. They're taught to look to each other and say, "Hey, man, why are you doing this?" And they just get back to the why. And he says all it takes is this realignment of focus for the person to say, "Man, I'm doing it for my family, so that way they didn't grow up like I grew up. I'm doing it for my family." And all of a sudden, dude, there's there's a next level. There's that additional gear that you didn't believe was there, but now that remembrance helps you identify it. And I think that's what helps you stay in the zone and stay focused, is if you keep it out in front of you, then every time that little feeling comes in, the little temptation, the little urge to like fall off track, or to give into the pressures of the pleasures of doing what you feel like doing or what have you, when that comes, it's so quenched so quickly because you have it in front of you. It's visible. The windshield is so big because you've chosen for it to be that big, because you have it in front of you. I think it's so powerful, dude. What you said was so good. You know, Rami, how do you, when you're going out there and you've got that big of a goal to help that many families, and you've got a life, you got stuff going on, how do you maximize time? I believe there's somebody on here that's thinking like, dude, I ain't got no time and I'm helping 4 families a month or whatever, like I don't know how to do it. But we all have the same amount of time, right? We're all gifted with the same amount of time. It's really the custodianship over that time. How do you maximize your time? How do you leave no extra time just to dwindle off the schedule? How do you do that?
Of course. So for me personally, I understood something I learned from you, Paul, actually in one of your first videos I ever watched from you. You said make your car a rolling university, right? And basically engulf yourself surrounding FFL. And as a new agent or a seasoned agent, you should be doing that, guys, because just like Paul said, it's very easy to kind of look backwards and kind of get caught up in your old self and get caught up in the past tense and kind of get caught up and say, okay, is this the right path I'm supposed to do? Now, in order to correct my schedule, just to make sure, I'm 100% zoned in and drilled in. I made sure everything I was doing, guys, no matter what, was family first life related. Now, I have a family, I have friends, I have a loved one, I have a life as well that I want to do. But I understood, guys, in my mind, sacrificing 2 to 3. Like, if I sacrifice my 30s, I can play in my 40s, 50s, and 60s, guys. If you're in your 18 and 20 years old, you guys want to sacrifice that, because guess what? If you play now when you're 20, what are you going to do when you're 30? If you're playing now when you're 30, what are you going to do when you're 40? You always want to take that and kind of carry that essence and just that feeling of, you know what, this is my life. So what I did, like I said, I literally made my life family first. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to go to dinner with my mom, on a Sunday. Does not mean I'm not able to call some of my friends and check in on them and say how you guys are doing. But my friends understood that, hey, Rami's working 24/7, Monday through Sunday. He's working. No matter what, whatever he's doing, he's going to be helping families, talking to agents, just basically trying to build my business with recruiting and going and helping families and by providing for my own. How I did that, again, was basically always watching YouTube videos by making sure that I'm staying up to date with the training. I made sure the way I spoke with my loved ones and my family was revolving around the business. So now I wouldn't go in there and pitch them, this whole CBA 100, or I wouldn't go in there and pitch them a product, but I would ask them questions like, hey guys, what does your life truly look like, if something was to happen? Have you guys ever thought about this? Did you guys ever plan for this? And now just having those basic conversations with your loved ones and family, you stay involved in the system. You keep that belief up that, all right, I'm actually making a difference in life and I'm helping families. That was one aspect that I had to do. I had to really make sure that who I was speaking with, my network and my support system, they understood exactly where I was at and what I wanted. Second, I have to make sure I knew the goal for myself, right? If your goal isn't to hit Hall of Fame, and if your goal is only, to help 10 to 15 families, maybe you don't need to make a car rolling university. But if you're not helping 10 to 15 families, you do need to make a car rolling university. You do need to basically make sure that everything you're doing are income producing activities, or at least you're doing a skill that's going to garner and generate an income producing activity. That's another thing I was doing as well. I was making sure that everything I did provided income to the business, whether that be self growth, or just watching motivational videos such as yourself, Dave Anderson, Tony Robbins, truly understanding, just being grateful, just understanding, hey, the vehicle I'm in today is a vehicle I never thought Paul would be in. And I truly mean that, bro. I never thought in my life I'll be in this kind of vehicle. When you say that to yourself and saying it out loud, it makes me feel more grateful, and it makes me kind of stay in and stay zoned in, because again, I know that sacrificing today is going to provide for my future. So for the people who are thinking, you know what, I dialed for 8 hours, it's 6 o'clock, I'm tired, I have a headache, I have 5 appointments. I implore you, go that extra mile, guys. Dial to 8, 9 p.m. See the results you're going to get. Duplicate that, replicate it, keep going. Do that for 90 days. Don't stop. I don't care for a few times it didn't work. Keep doing it. Over time, the results will garner. You are definitely going to see the results, and then you're going to understand, okay, now it's what Ron was talking about. Now I understand what he meant by all his life is family first life. I'm not saying that as like how we mentioned in the beginning of the Paul, you said there's a negative connotation of being obsessed, but there's a positive connotation of being obsessed. To be the best in this industry, you have to be obsessed. I'm pretty sure that Michael Jordan, LeBron James, my favorite Luka Doncic, and all these other players, they all understood they had to be obsessed with the game and master their lane and master their craft in order to become successful. Now, if they weren't going to the gym and they knew that, hey, in order for me to become a better jump shot, I have to jump better. In order for me to jump better, I have to go to the gym. In order for me to go to the gym every day, gotta be disciplined and wake up at 8 a.m. It's these small little steps that you have to continue to take. That's like a domino effect. I call it a cascading effect. You do one thing, it's going to automatically follow, and it's going to transition to the next and to the next. But if you don't start by waking up at 8 a.m., you may not be able to get to that gym on time. You may not be able to work on, those muscles to be able to jar that jump shot. Same thing goes here, guys, in the industry. You have to be up early. You have to be watching the training videos, dialing, booking your appointments. Because an hour in the field, as we all know, is worth 100 in the classroom. And I truly mean that. You guys are only going to get better by practice, muscle memory. So all these athletes, they have practice every day, 3 times a day for a reason. It's muscle memory. There's many ways to skin a cat, guys, but I can tell you this much, there's a more efficient way to skin a cat, right? Someone can try to argue me a day and night, tell me, yeah, there's multiple ways to do something. I agree with that wholeheartedly, but there are always more efficient ways to doing something. You want to find what is your efficient way. What makes you efficient, right? What gets you going? Grasp onto that and keep it rolling. And that's what I did. I basically found out, hey, in order for me to be efficient and in order for me to truly understand what I need to do in this business, I had to do the small things first. And that was for me basically, again, making my car rolling university, getting up early, making sure my support system was always there, just fully going all in and making sure I have no white space. Because white space can kill you in this business, guys. And I don't mean white space in the field. If you have white space in the field, don't knock and dial, right? Or call recruits, call prospects, talk to agents, establish relationships, build their personality, and build them up to be able to, provide for their family and for, other families.
Dude, this is so good. I mean, that's why I don't even want to say anything. Usually I talk more, but I'm like, dude, everything you're saying is just so spot on. I mean, even the way it's flowed, like if everybody's listening in, I think the first thing they probably caught was like, man, I need to really have some clear reasons of why I'm going to do this thing. Like some very clear reasons that are going to really, drive me and get me going. And you talked a lot about that, and then you started speaking about, really just having, you know, um, some small victories, some small wins, like looking at your schedule and identifying some victories and wins you can have, right? And then you talked about your whole schedule not having any extra time left, and I think that's so essential. Is looking at it and saying, hey, how can I show myself in my schedule that I'm going to take it to the next level? That's where confidence is built by you. First, it's borrowed, and by you, it's like, man, I've said I'm going to do this, and now I'm out there actually doing it. I'm executing on what I've set before me, and I think, guys, this is so important. I think most people will trip up on the way to the goals that they have because they don't have an awareness of what they're doing minute by minute. And I think if you're unaware of your schedule, then your schedule's got dominion and control over you, and you're never going to get to where you want by default. It's got to be by intention. And I just want to say, everybody on here, and I'm talking to myself too. It's like you're speaking. I'm like, dude, I want to look at my schedule because I don't think I have it that dialed in for the rest of the day. But I remember, man, when I was out there getting to that 500 families a year, I remember, getting in business and growing into 1,000 families a month. And in that season where it was like, man, we're getting 1,000 families and as a team, I'm getting to 500 families as a producer and the staff and all these things going on, and my kids, and they got soccer and all this stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff. And the reality is, dude, it all fit in just the same. Like you could feel just as busy if you take off something that's so massive off your plate, like helping 500 families, if you don't intentionally plan what that schedule is going to be, because time is fleeting. And I remember being able to schedule it all in and being so highly productive, the most productive. And I think it's because there was a big block in my schedule that allowed me to go out there and fit things in. But it was almost the most fulfilling time as well, because a dog in the hunt has no fleas. Meaning that, dude, there was nothing that could come at me circumstantially that was going to derail me, because I had such a heightened focus on my hunt. Help these families between appointments. I got to develop. I got to listen to podcasts. Oh, all right. I got to talk to these 5 people in the morning. I had to plan it out because I only had so much time. So I was more intentional the time I had, because there's limited, because I had such big blocks in it. And then I didn't know what I was going to talk to that person specifically about. So when I was on the call with them, I didn't squander or waste and just speak about whatever for 25 minutes. Man, it was the right person. It was the right topic. It was intentional. It was impactful. And then we moved on. This is the stuff, guys. If you're like, man, I just want to get that feeling of like, yeah, there's something about, dude, the person that's in war, and at the end of the war, they're on the battlefield. They got blood on their face. There's sweat they're sweating. They're exhausted. They can barely move. Maybe they're making some, they're just like, there's something about that feeling. And not to try to act like in this business, because we're helping families with life insurance, or that's it, but it is, you can get that feeling. You can get that feeling. It's the no extra time. It's a no extra time. And being so diligent with it is so important. What leads are you door knocking? What are you doing if space becomes white that was before blocked in because a client doesn't show up? Now I've got unintended for white space. I just, whoa, there you are. What do I do then? But having everything predetermined and pre-decided to keep your focus heightened and to keep moving forward is so important, dude. And this is what you're talking about, bro. And you're given the practical things to go through, and dude, it's so good, man. I love you for talking about this, and I love you for sharing today. What the value you're bringing is significant, man. Last thing I want you to talk about, Rami, is like, how do you, so you said in the beginning, I think I caught, you said something like, before Family First Life, you were the person that kind of, said you were going to do something and then didn't always follow through. And then, and in all reality, dude, and this is me being very transparent with you, like, this isn't me trying to blow you up or whatever, but like, if I described you, I would say very dependable and does what he says he can do. Like, that's how I would describe you. And I know you pretty well. We speak very often. What helped you with that shift? Was it small wins? Like, how did you all of a sudden develop that big shift in personality and how you see your, like, how did that change?
So I think just over time, it was gratefulness. It's being really grateful and it's really understanding the position I'm in and what I can do and where I can go. And what I would do a lot, as I mentioned, I would have a lot of friends and family, ask me for advice. They would say, as I'm sure, as you know me, Paul, I'm sure you talked to a lot of people think that Ram has all the answers or Ram is a know-it-all. And I'm proud to say my personality is one like that. That I do tend to think that if I talk to you, I can kind of help guide you and help get you where you need to be. In other words, I can think of a solution or a rationale that may not be the perfect rationale, but it's one that kind of makes sense, and I can help just kind of get you to where you got to be. After doing that, and after coming to this business and talking to families, and actually implementing that, like telling a family, what does it look like when you die? These are the steps you need to do, and what you need to do to take it in order to, stop that financial burden, to make sure that that family is not going to go through that struggle. I had to really sit back to myself and say, Rami, you're telling these people what to do, but are you really telling yourself what to do, and are you doing it? Or are you just going to tell them what to do, but then now you're not going to tell yourself what to do, and you're not going to listen to yourself, but you're guiding a family, and you're trying to tell them that your opinion and your knowledge and what you're saying is, the route they have to go and the route they should be taking. However, you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your same opinion. You don't believe in what you're telling yourself. So that was a change in my mind. I really had to kind of sit down from within, really reflect and say, Rami, if you're going to believe in yourself and that you can tell all these people what to do and how to do it, start practicing what you preach. And then when I started implementing and actually executing what I would tell myself in my own mind, I'm not just going to be very blunt. I don't really care what people think about me per se. I know that I know I'm a smart person. I'm not saying by intellect, but I know that I know what to do. I know that I have a good grasp on life, right? I understand that I can read people pretty well. And then I knew that where I needed to get to in life, I had to start listening to myself. I couldn't, sit around anymore and just say, you know what, Rami, you have to go to the gym. You have to get up early. But you can just wake up, at 7:55, roll out of bed, and get to the office by 8:05. It's okay. No worries. No, I knew that wasn't okay. I knew that was going to translate to my life. In the beginning, I didn't actually execute that. I was saying, I was doing like I told you. I was like, you know what, Rami, you're telling everyone, all these people to get up early, telling everyone in order to eat better, you have to eat X, Y, Z and go to the gym. But I wasn't doing it myself. So over time, I get mad at myself. I got pissed. I did. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, wake up. I'm like, get up. I'm like, come on, dude, that's enough. Enough's enough. And once I told myself that, Paul, ever since then, I practice what I implement what I preach. Like, that's it. I know, because to me, in my mind, if I'm going to tell you to do something, I know I'm reiterating, but I want to make this very clear for any agent on this call, because I'm telling you, this is what truly got me to Hall of Fame. If you believe in what you're saying and you believe in yourself and you believe in the message, you believe in the product, anything you're doing in life, right? You have to remember that if you're confident enough to tell someone else that, you should be able to be confident enough to accept and tell yourself that same exact thing. And I know everyone's situation is different, but I'm saying in a very generalized and vague sense where if I tell someone, again, you got to get up early, you got to eat healthy, but I'm out here, sleeping until 3 o'clock in the morning, getting up like at 10 a.m., eating McDonald's, stuffing my face with Burger King. But then I'm telling the person, who wants to lose weight, go to sleep, go eat healthier, go to Whole Foods and buy food. That's not right, right? It doesn't make sense. Why would they listen to me? I would hold no credibility. So to me, it was more about being credible and just being established and understanding that, all right, Rami, like, you know what to do, you know how to do it. Let's see what happens when you actually do implement it. And when I did, my life really took a 180 per se. And I'm not saying that I was extremely unorganized and not disciplined beforehand, but it definitely amplified my discipline and it amplified my dedication to this business just by going out helping families and making sure that if I'm telling someone what to do, I have to understand that I believe it as well. And I believe in myself.
Dude, that's so good, man. And I wasn't gazing down. I was taking notes, and I don't typically do that while I'm engaging in an interview and in a conversation. But dude, the stuff you're saying was so good. I wanted to write it. I wanted to take it for myself. The stuff you were talking about, because it was that good. And see, the thing is this: the best way to, like, when I'm hearing you say and I'm thinking about, it's like, man, sometimes if your goal is to be just a phenomenal leader, it starts with how are you leading yourself. And if you can lead yourself in an excellent way, well, then when you lead the other person, you're going to lead them in what they want. They want to be led with confidence, and they want to be led with clarity. And if you can have this first for yourself, you'll be able to do that for them. You'll be able to hold yourself in a confident way because you've built that good reputation with yourself, and that's going to give them faith and hope as they follow you, because you've hold yourself with confidence. It's like, dude, if I'm going to go into war and you're like, I think we'll be okay. Like, I know there's 100 of them, but I mean, we got 90, 10 we'll probably live. I'm like, what? Dude, like, that ain't good. But if you're like, oh, dude, we got it, bro. Trust me, we've been here before. They got no shot, man. God's with us. Like, open your eye, and you start. I'm like, all right, dude, let's go. Like, I'm in. I mean, I want confidence. And then the other thing you said, dude, and when you said it, I remember hearing this, and I think it was from Caroline Leaf, maybe, and I'm probably messing it up. Apologize if I am, but she was speaking about it, and it was called like freaking out in the love zone, and what it was about was like, you kind of know what you want. Like, and you get to a point with yourself where it's like, man, I want to serve others. And in essence, I'm giving you, the example you talked about, like, I want to serve others. I want to be able to lead them the right way. I want to be able to lead my clients the right way. But because I love them, but I'm not doing that. And so you get to this point where you freak out in this love zone because you're like, man, I want to go out there and serve them at a better rate. I want to, and it's in this sense of love of like what you want. And when you do that, all of a sudden, a lot of times a shift finally takes place when you're just like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. This is what I desire. This is why I desire. It's out of love, man. It's out of where I want to go. It's out of making a difference. It's freaking out in the love zone. And man, I think that was the way you said it, it got me thinking about when she said something, and I might have been messed it up a little bit, but in essence, that's what it made me think of. It made me think of like, you got to a point where you're like, dude, enough's enough, Rami. Like, let's go, man. Like I know what I want to do. I want to serve these people and I'm hurting them. And because I don't want to hurt them, and you freak out in that kind of that environment or zone of love. And then you even said in the beginning that you were just grateful. Like that helped you with it. It was because it was in the right state of mind. Like, you know what you wanted. It was from the right place, the right heart. And I just think that was a great way to put it, man. Last thing I'll say as we wrap up, guys, is like, a lot of what Rami talked about was just having a very good understanding of priorities. And I think that a lot of times when we feel like we're out of alignment with ourselves and we're just like not feeling really great, it's a priority issue. Sometimes it's the schedule issue is kind of the fruit, but the root is kind of a priority issue, and you're just kind of like all over the place and not getting a whole lot done, not really getting some depth to a day. Like I want depth. I want to dig some depth and get some footing in. I don't want to be surface. Nothing good happens with just surface, but a lot of times it just comes from a realignment of priorities, and saying, okay, what's priority number one? Well, it's probably going out there and serving families. It's probably the sales part of it. Like that's probably the first thing to put in. And I remember going through things in my life, whether that was, getting a house and building a house, remodeling a house, and then having another baby and, building a business and building the agency and having these different things take place. And I just remember that, in all those different times, what I realized is that when I was focused on sales and that was my priority, I fit them in through appointments. I fit it all in, but I just know that the other times where it's not a priority and those things take precedence, that's when I feel depleted. And it's like, I can't fit in the main things. And that's where you feel like you're unproductive. And so I would just encourage everybody, guys, make this a focus today to maybe look at the priorities, set yourself up. I know I'm going to do it, man. This has been so good for me, but look at the priorities and set yourself up for a massive week. Guys, I suggest you to go ahead and share this. If you want to make a difference, share this. I promise you, you don't know who's going to watch it. And the person that watches this might make a massive difference for them because it's definitely impacted me. It's been very, very good. I also suggest that you share this, you like, you subscribe, and you comment below. I know at convention, I had a lot of people come up and say, man, I won the prize. And this was kind of, I guess for me, I was not aware of this, but they're like, I guess I didn't think about it like this. They said, Paul, I was in this spot where I was trying to get this business going. It wasn't going where it needed to go. And there was one batch of leads. It fixed everything for me. It got me back to where I'm at. That's why I got here. And I'm like, seriously? And I mean, it's $250 in lead money, but it might be the right time, and the person gets it at the right moment to take their business to the next level. So make sure to comment below. And guys, let's go out there and make it a massive week. Let's take this stuff. Let's implement it. Let's put it into action. And let's go out there and conquer the week, guys. Be strong. Stay steadfast. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Rami. Take care, guys.
Appreciate you.
All right. That was a phenomenal Monday morning wake up podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is my favorite time of the show. This is Trey Honeycutt, by the way. I get to fill in here. But my favorite time of the show, this is when we get to give away leads to people that commented on last week's podcast. And so, make sure you comment on this podcast because next week we're going to give away some leads to 4 random commenters. And it's a phenomenal thing. It's exciting times. But what's so unique about last week, the people that we're picking from last week, is typically we do $250 worth of leads that we give away. But for people that donated last week, because Pastor Matthew was our special guest, it's $1,000 lead giveaway to 4 people. And as always, it's randomly selected. And so you guys are going to see it right here on my screen. I push start and it's going to pick the commenter that gets to win $1,000 worth of leads. I get to do it 4 times. So here we go. All right, I'm going to push it harder. No, it's not pushing. Oh, it's not an iPad. Oops. All right, the winner, Christopher Malari. Thank goodness for Christopher. Good job, Christopher. Christopher donated. Way to go. $250 worth of leads for Christopher. I don't know where I got 1,000 from. Sorry, I messed up. $250 worth of leads for Christopher. I don't know how to go to the next person. Pick another winner. Here we go. YouTube contest winner. All right, I got to do start again. Boy, they make it look easy when they do this. All right, Renee Mendoza, our next winner. $250 worth of leads. Good job, Renee. Our next winner, Mr. Leon. I donated. Good job, Mr. Leon. $250 with the leads for Mr. Leon. And start. And our last winner is the insurance guy. All right, Pastor Matthew Paul, thanks. Motivating words. Good work. All right, so that is that's what we got to do. So if you guys want to claim your free leads and you were chosen, then reach out to Victoria at Paul McLean's office. So they're going to put the email up here on the screen, and tune in next week for another great edition of the Monday Morning Wake Up Call. This is a phenomenal tradition for Family First Life, and I'm excited for you guys to get to experience this. And make sure you comment in today's video for a chance to win $250 worth of leads if you're picked randomly. You guys make it a great week.